Welcome back to the Bell Astrology Podcast. I am your host and astrologer Ashley, and in today's episode, we are talking about this week's full moon. And I want to preface this and really start by just asking you, how are you? How have the last 6 months been for you? Because we get to close a cycle that was opened up in a way that was designed to take you deep into the underworld, deep behind the scenes, below the surface, and really do some deep healing. And when I think back over the last 6 months, I can't even really put into words at this point I can't even describe how deep I've had to go. How healing, yes, it's been, but painful and also beautiful at the same time. This has been the most scorpionic last 6 months I've experienced, I think, my time on this earth as a human, this lifetime. And so, surprise, we're talking about the full moon in Scorpio. This powerful full moon that is coming up is happening on May 1st, and it's at 11 degrees of Scorpio. And that's very significant. I'll tell you why in a minute. But it's going to peak at 12:23 here in Central Time. And this one is not subtle. It's already feeling this buildup as we're getting closer to this full moon. Thank you, Farmer's Almanac. I always love to look at the moons and line them up with the Farmer's Almanac because this one is called the full flower moon. And it's so beautiful because all of here in the Northern Hemisphere, the flowers they're not blooming, of course, but the green is sprouting through the earth. And it's rebirth time. It is all of what has been happening beneath the surface, which we don't have visibility to, is starting to break through. And that's such a beautiful metaphor for what is happening right now, coinciding with Scorpio, because it's Taurus season. And during Taurus season, we're starting things that are new. But the opposite sign of Taurus is Scorpio. So when the sun and moon are opposite in the sky, we have a full moon. Well, Taurus is spring and life, but you can't have newness, spring and life without the completion of that cycle, and that's death and rebirth. That's Scorpio. And so something else to note about this month, not the astrological month, but the calendar month. So we're opening up May 1st with a full moon. We actually get another full moon in the month of May. And we experience this multiple times. It's not, I wouldn't say super rare, but it's really impactful and it's really powerful. When we have two full moons in a calendar month, the second full moon is called a blue moon. So on the 31st of May, we'll have the full moon in Sagittarius. And I just have to say how poetic that is. Darkly, is that a word? Darkly poetic, because Scorpio is about releasing and endings and death and transformation. This is a full moon. Under a full moon, this is a culmination. This is an ending. We're finishing a cycle. And so these two full moons in this month is really the universe's way of making sure that you got the message, making sure that you heard loud and clear, no, we really mean it. Like, you got to let this go. There's no bypassing this time. There's no skipping over it. This is an absolute completion portal, and the universe really wants to make sure that you got the message. And so I have to be honest with this. one, and I know it's not about me, right? This is about all of us, but with astrology, you should always make it about you because it is. You're the only one here in this universe. It's all about you. But the reason why this one for me is so potent and so special is this moon is happening at 11 degrees 21 minutes of Scorpio. I was born on 11/21 Scorpio. And I was like, oh, when I noticed that when I'm putting together everything for this podcast, like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm listening. You've got my attention. This is all for me. Got it. And then when I go back and I reflect on when this started, so the full moon is the culmination, we go back to the new moon. And that was the seeds, the time that we set the intentions that this whole last 6 months have been about. Well, that was the Scorpio new moon on 11/20, the day before my birthday. And when I think about it, everything makes sense. I love working with astrology. Not that I need it to validate me, but I do love to check in. I guess it is a validation in that most important thing to remember, and it's great for me, is that, and all of us, you're exactly where you are supposed to be. And this really, when I go back and I look at what started and where I was at under this new moon that happened in November 2025, I just get this full body like reassurance that everything is unfolding exactly how it should. I went back and I looked at my journal I always journal with the new moon and the full moon. And of course I have these podcasts to go back and listen to because this is what it's unfolding in real time. I just have an audience that's experiencing it with me. But when I go back to the episode that I did for the new moon in Scorpio, what I said, I'll share this with you. I said this was not going to be a gentle energy. It was going to be raw and purifying and electric. And if there's something that you've been avoiding, this moon is going to strip it bare. The next 6 months will strip you bare. Scorpio does not do surface level. It goes straight to the bottom. It's the truth teller of fear and desire and the shadows. This is where they all merge. We are in the underworld. And she asks you, are you really ready to see what's there? And wow, the last 6 months for me have been exactly that. It's so beautiful. As a intuitive person, one of the ways that things channel through me is when I create. And whether that be art or writing a podcast or creating content, that's been something that I've really tapped into. When I have those desires to create something, when I'm pulling together music and image, when I see a vision of how I want something to come to be, and I write the descriptions, I often go back and I look at that and I see that that wasn't me in this moment. It was truly a message from my higher self. I was channeling exactly what I needed to say, what I needed to hear, and it was exactly what happened. Obviously, that's why I love the work that I do. I get to blend this part of me where I am able to channel and connect with messages that I don't even fully realize that I'm doing all the time until I go back and I look. And I know that was for many of you because you tell me, but it's also for me. And the last 6 months of my life have been nothing short of an absolute surrender of an old identity. And this has been, like I said, the most scorpionic cycle of life that I've ever lived through. Physically, no, I'm still physically here, but energetically, emotionally, and the biggest thing was the identity piece. I feel like everything that I thought that I was got stripped away, that nothing felt safe for me anymore. And when I go back and I look at some of the content that I was putting out, one of the pieces that jumps out at me that I was so inspired to create, there's an audio that it just keeps repeating and repeating, and it says to become the person that you want to be, you have to destroy the person that you are. And I'll be honest with you, I did. I didn't even know what that was going to entail. I think that we talk a lot about transformation and healing. And, when you have a vision for your life of where you're going, it's that saying that your new life is going to cost you your old one. And this isn't cute transformation. It's not. As a Scorpio, I'm not immune to it. This is the underworld. And what's so wild is just how accurate this is, right? Astrology is the study of patterns and observing it showing up in real time. And it's so wild to just see how accurate it is. And now that we're at the culmination of this last 6 months, I just got back from a week-long retreat. It was a business retreat. And how beautiful of timing, of course, during Taurus season to go on a business retreat, invest in myself, in my business, in my planning, really get really intimate with what I'm building on the backside from my dream. I need the actual Taurus pieces of structure and planning in order for that to come into this reality. And the entire week, so I was at NatureLink here in Nisswa, and I was with a group of female entrepreneurs. We're all part of Female Founders. It is an amazing networking, but it's so much more than that. It is out of the Twin Cities, and the retreat was up here, and it was just so amazing to surround myself with other entrepreneurs building business. I know you see this podcast and you see my content and my readings, and that's the part that I love, but there's so much behind the scenes and the engine that makes all of this work. And we're all just figuring it out, right? But when you put yourself in rooms with others with that mindset, I got to learn so much. I got to, share so much. And really I got to do the human parts in this job. I'm often the kind of the unicorn in these groups that I go to. Rarely is there another astrologer in the mix or medium, which is great, but I need to build the practical side, and that is so much what is so beautiful about doing this work in Taurus season. But what was so beautiful about this week is that we were really doing some deep subconscious work. And the last 6 months for me, I have been focusing on my subconscious, my patterns, observing my thoughts. In a way, I have dove down so deep in my psyche, and this watching of how I've created the life that I have and the things that happen around me with a mindset that I've operated on my whole life. And now I'm 40 years old and I'm trying to change that. And this is real time shifting work. And this last week, we did a lot of identifying limiting beliefs and patterns, doing hypnosis, deep subconscious work, speaking our visions out loud. And it was exhausting in the most beautiful way. but also in the realization of, wow, there are parts of myself that I had to meet this last week that were running the show. And the beautiful thing about that is I get to release and surrender those. And coming right on the heels of that is this beautiful full moon that's echoing that message of, you don't have to carry this with you. It's a choice. You know, what you're not releasing, you're choosing. And as we arrive at this full moon, yeah, that's the message. That's it. That this is the culmination. This is why you've been going through all of that you have the last 6 months. I'm right there with you. But I just have to say, thank God we've made it to this full moon. And this Scorpio energy is so powerful. It's not easy. You know, even as a Scorpio, I can tend to glamorize this archetype of, ooh, you know, it's deep and it's feeling, it's emotions, but that's intensity and it's real. And no one is immune to their shadow, to their depth, to grief, to confrontation. And this is the full moon to say, I'm ready to close that chapter. I'm really ready. I've been prepared for this. And this is so important because when we have a Taurus Scorpio transit, so the full moon, sun's in Taurus, moon is in Scorpio, this axis, Taurus Scorpio, is the life-giving and life-ending axis. This is represents the things in life that we grip onto so hard. And let me tell you why. Just look at the themes. This is our security, what makes us feel safe. And the things that we go through life trying to control. We think that we're in control. This is money. This is intimacy and power. This is life and death. I mean, is there anything else in the chart? There's 12 areas of life. This represents 2 of those 12 areas. And yes, they're all important, of course. There's adventure and there's learning and there's communicating and relationships and our career and all that. But when you get to this Taurus Scorpio themes, this is where we are death gripping in life. These are the things that we all strive for and that are running the scenes behind the scenes. And this is where we have to let go. We have to let go. And that's so hard to do. Sometimes we don't have a choice on the things that we are letting go of. And I think that's part of the hardest lesson, is that when we make a conscious choice to change and to surrender and to release, the parts of ourselves that we have lived our entire lives like holding on to, that just doesn't naturally go away. You can't just naturally let that go. That's why this work of releasing and surrendering, it sounds so beautiful, and it is, but it's so hard. We fight ourselves tooth and nail to do it. And so I just want to say, if things are coming up for you right now, if things are feeling intense, emotions are rising, if something is revealed to you that you can't ignore, that's the point. You're brought to this point to see the contrast, to see the things that you don't want, the things that make you uncomfortable, so that you can make the conscious choice to let them go in light of choosing the things that you do want, because those things need space. And in order to grow, in order to bring in that newness, we have to make space. This is the life and the death cycle. This is Taurus, this is Scorpio. Taurus holds on and Scorpio lets go. Both of them learning that lesson of each other. You know, this full moon is definitely a spotlight getting your attention. If you can't find this restful sleep that you normally have, it's because the moon is saying, hey, look at this. This is what still has a hold on you. And the more that you avoid it, the louder that it gets. I think that's why this isn't easy. That's why we have 2 full moons here in May. To just make sure. Um, so I would say if anything is coming up for you, triggering, um, just pause and ask. That's the beauty. This is your power. Why is this triggering you? What is being activated inside of you? What is this showing and revealing about yourself? And where are you still holding on to things that you've outgrown? And it may not be obvious. There are subtle, subtle things that run in the background that when we pull back the covers, we see what's actually been running this whole time. And this is such a beautiful opportunity to release that. And within Taurus season, my advice here, this is also such a gift in Taurus season because Taurus is a physical sign. It's an earth sign. We're here, we're building, we're having this physical experience. It's a sensory time. And so my advice to you is to slow down and honor this. Nourish yourself, nourish your body, come back, listen to the wisdom that your body is sharing with you. Because not only are you addressing the things that you're carrying knowingly, the emotions that you feel, the thoughts that you have, but your body's holding on to that too energetically. And so this week, what are some things that you can do to bring more safety into your body, to calm your nervous system, to allow yourself to feel held and supported and safe as you're letting things go? It's equally important to really take care of yourself. And to help support with this, I want you to know I have a couple beautiful offerings right now. I am hosting a sound bath for this full moon on Thursday, April 30th. It's at 5:30 at Divine North. And this is such a beautiful way to prepare the body. This is the night before the full moon. It's a beautiful way to help move some of that emotion through the body, to allow the power of frequency and vibration to help shake anything loose that may still be riding beneath the surface, bringing it to the surface for your attention so you are able to do the natural release under this full moon of what is no longer serving you, to release what's being stored or what you're ready to surrender and let go of. So that is on Thursday evening, and there's this beautiful event that I'll be attending on Sunday at Divine North. Eric Christopher is going to be holding a past life regression workshop. And I can't think of a better way to ride out the waves of a Scorpio full moon than to access the deeper layers, the memories, the emotions, the patterns, to bring awareness to what's been riding beneath the surface. And both of these are linked on the Divine North website. Two beautiful offerings to support you during this full moon and this time frame. You know what, for me, I'm not really sure what else is going to be revealed. I have some ideas, but what it's going to feel like, I know it's going to feel. I know I'm going to feel a lot of things this week, and I know I want to honor it. And I want to also honor the version of me that got me to this point. You know, I'm stepping away from a lot of my old truths, my old beliefs and patterns, but, you know, even though I'm leaving her behind, she got me here. She did what she had to do to survive, and she did the best with what she had at the time and knowledge. And now that I'm growing my awareness and I'm growing my my consciousness, I really feel like a baby deer. I feel like a baby deer right now, and I think that's really important to notice. I just received this book, and if you watch my stories, you may have seen it's about spirit animals, your spirit totem animals, and walking with them in different periods of your life. And my spirit animal is the wolf. There's no doubt, there's nothing that I know more to be true in this life that animal is my spirit animal, my guide. But you also have different animals that come into your life with different lessons that you're learning, different growth opportunities that to help guide you during that time. And right now, I've got the baby deer. I've got the baby deer wobbling, new, learning how to stand in this next version of myself for the first time. And so I'd love to share more on that adventure with you in another episode. But I also know that at this point in my life, I have really big dreams. I have really big dreams, and a previous version of me would have really dug in to my Scorpio Taurus placements in controlling the outcome, the narrative. And I now fully accept the surrender. I don't have to control how things are going to happen. I am trusting, and that's the real work. That is the real work, trusting in the unseen, that I am exactly where I am meant to be, that the right people will come, the wrong people will leave. And that's the real work under this full moon, is that gift of surrender. Can you give yourself that gift? So let this be your permission slip to release, to grieve, and to celebrate what you have survived, what you have survived, what has gotten you to this point. What a beautiful gift. And also to trust what you're making space for. It may be hard to surrender and let go, but I promise you something more beautiful is growing in that space, as long as you allow for it to come in. And it's already on its way. So this is the kind of work that we're doing in my membership, Inner Orbit, that I just launched this month. This is exactly the work that we do inside of that. We're looking at your cycles, we're looking at your chart, and what all of these milestones, we're tracking them, what they mean for you, how to utilize and work with them. So yes, we're all experiencing astrology, but this is you actually putting yourself in the driver's seat and working with it. Such a beautiful offering. I'm very excited for this container and to get to work so intimately and closely with you one-on-one. That's Inner Orbit. It's my astrology membership. We meet every single month and really dive into what's happening real time for you astrologically. And of course, as we are heading into summer, the calendar for me is filling up, and I could not be more thankful and full of gratitude. But with that being said, things are filling up. So if you are thinking about a reading and getting on my calendar, I would recommend doing that. Of course, Taurus, this is your birthday month. You get 15% off a reading with me when you book during your birthday month. So go ahead and get on those spots that are left on my calendar. And just a reminder, it's both in person or virtual, either or. All right, you guys, this is a big one. I really thank you for being here. I love you all so much, and take care of yourself under this full moon. The depth in me honors and sees the depth in you. And I'll see you on the other side of it. From my heart to yours, bye for now.